Alright, here we go with a nice cozy star pack run. I'm sure if you've been watching the channel for a while you will know what's going to happen in this run, but for everyone else it can be a surprise. Yeah, no videos over the weekend. That was unintentional, just so happened that I wasn't able to record anything. I did post a members video on the Friday, but it wasn't Super Auto Pets, so I felt a little bit bad about going a few days with no SAP videos at all. Not that there's any shortage of stuff to upload. There's always more stuff to upload, but there is a shortage of time at the moment. So do bear with me if there ends up being another gap this week. It will all depend on various real life factors, whether or not I can get some of the stuff edited that I've got waiting. I'm sure that's the case for a lot of people this time of year. 2025 is winding up, which it seems really strange to say that because it was not that long ago I was making an incredibly long video for the end of 2024. Not going to do that this year. I think I learned my lesson last year. While it is nice to be able to put out a very long video that can sort of tide people over the holidays, in practical terms, with limited time at the moment, that's just not going to happen. Maybe we can think about it for the end of 2026. But yeah, if you haven't already, talking about long form videos, you should definitely go and watch RevGT's SAP movie, or at least his first one, because it sounds like he's going to make another one. Yeah, I'm not sure what he's thinking, but hey, it's working out because his video at the time of recording has something like 25,000 views, which is absolutely unheard of for a SAP video in the current day and age. It used to happen all the time in the olden days, but the YouTube algorithm seems to have moved on. And so, making something that is good enough to sort of break through to that degree, it's a very impressive achievement. Now, the only downside is that, I've tried to message Rev since that video took off, and his response was that he's now too big time to talk to me. So, yeah, unfortunately, I don't foresee any collaborations in the near future. Maybe you can go and comment on Rev's channel if you think that he should, do some charity work and collaborate with his old buddy Grounded. I guess that's just the way of things. Sometimes fame goes to people's heads. This was a pretty funny round, though, returning to the run, where the two 1-1 ants managed to salvage the win because the seaweed reduced the health on the last two units. Seaweed is still super good, even though it was toned down, which probably tells you that the nerf made a lot of sense. Something getting nerfed doesn't necessarily mean that it's no longer playable, and Seaweed is definitely very playable. So yeah, if you guessed earlier in the video that this was going to be a Starfish game, well done. You win absolutely nothing because it was pretty obvious, I think. But it's maybe a little bit more atypical than you would think. There was something I glossed over right at the beginning, which was, I think I sold a pill bug. The original intent here was that I was going to freeze a pill as soon as I got the opportunity, and then try and save it all the way to turn 11 to pill the first orca I saw. It just didn't happen that way in this particular game. And actually, if you're trying to save anything in the food shop, you shouldn't be buying mice at the beginning either, because they end up overwriting the food shop. So yeah, the original plan kind of fell apart, but we still lucked into a pretty nice starfish setup. And we can always just find another pill bug. So there's one right there. Not sure why I rolled there instead of, by selling the bass. And here I could have just pilled the orca straight away, but I guess I wanted the orca for the actual next battle. Now, something that's atypical about this particular run is that although I do have play against all packs on, I think normally I wouldn't expect to play against this many danger pack opponents. So there's our first giant otter opponent with all jump pets. It's not going to be our last. And I'm sure there are other danger pack teams on the horizon as well. Pill the Orca, we actually get Rooster. I've done a Rooster video in Star Pack before, so I was a little bit disappointed, but since the run was going well, I decided to just carry on. And we'll bring in the Spinosaurus. Let me know in the comments what your ideal pet from Orca would have been there. There are so many faint pets in the game now that you could potentially get from Orca. But sometimes I just don't really think ahead. You know, what do I want from this Orca pill? I just, you know, see what we're going to get and then adapt accordingly. So here we got a little bit unlucky that the Swordfish Snipe didn't kill the Cobra, but we still win anyway. So that's pretty nice. Now I'm just looking for another Orca. We'll take the pepper on the Swordfish. It's not going to knock itself out yet, but it can do as soon as we level it up to level 2. But we don't need to do that for it to one-shot this behemoth. Kind of an odd team here with the Hydra 9-9 in the back line. So I guess that was something that had been transformed with Conpeto or Water of Youth. So actually we got a tie because the Hydra didn't have 10 attack, which it needs to summon anything. And then with a double pill frozen, we can do another Anteater pill. It's unfortunately the Spino buffs the Ant, which is pretty much guaranteed, I think. Again, I'm not sure why I didn't pill the Orca there. But yeah, look, here's someone else playing a jump team with Giant Otter. Yeah, I think the cheese was actually wasted there, so the Spino buff didn't really help us. Maybe we could have won that with a different sequence of random buffs, I'm not sure. I guess I didn't pill the Orca because I didn't want the buff to go onto the Starfish, so that probably explains that decision. Then we get Farmer Crow here. What could you do with Farmer Crow in this pack? I guess if you got Black Bear or something else from the first Orca, then it would have been perfect, but that's not what happened. And another Danger Pack team here. The Swordfish completely wrecks the Pygmy Hippo in the back line. So now we just need one more win. And I'm going to take whichever equipment is available. Would have been nice to get level 2 Spino there. And look, again, it's another Danger Pack team. How many is that? It must be like 6 or 7 at this point. But I think, yeah, the Swordfish didn't manage to kill the level 3 Giant Tortoise. So actually we lose. Kind of surprising when you see their initial lineup, but fair enough, I guess. And then I make a mistake here. I shouldn't buy the celery onto the Swordfish there because it's just going to get wasted. And we actually end up facing Nargit 89 here on turn 17. And the Baguette actually removes the Strawberry, breaking the synergy from the Velociraptors. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure we would have lost that battle. So yeah, clutch Baguette on a level 1 6/6 Farmer Crow in Star Pack.